If I recall, that's what I
See if I can hold it on to you.
Okay.
One minute.
evening, everybody. The first order of business is action on minutes. To see what action the board wishes to take regarding approval of the minutes from the meeting held on June 17th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Or second? Who was the second? Oh, will be David's motion, Stephanie's second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all of those in favor of approval of the minutes from June 17th, 2024? Next is citizen comments. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak this evening?
PR class hasn't started yet.
What's that?
I said PR class hasn't started
There
yet.
we go. We'll be waiting. Board member comments. Are there any board members that would like to speak this evening?
I understand that Preston Park and maybe the middle school are transitioning to a no homework policy. And, you know, I'm sure I'm old-fashioned, but it just seems like a step backwards from an educational perspective. So I was hoping that maybe at the next board meeting, we could get administration to provide us with some justification for the policy and hopefully some data. I mean, I'd like to see an educational benefit from it other than just an emotional benefit. So maybe next meeting.
Scott?
I'll follow this. That's actually substantive, and what he's saying is truth behind that. There's no homework till ninth grade.
Oh, you're asking if that's the.
Yeah, you're actually trying to get confirmation from the superintendent.
That is something they're going to try this year, yes.
So you're up to eighth grade, you walk out the door, you're done till tomorrow morning.
They'll be, for the most part, that's been practice for the last 5 or 6 years, unless kids have work to finish. It's more just finishing up work that's undone. There's no specific homework assigned to the next day. There are sometimes projects to do things at different times, but that is not a,
Is there a rationale?
there's a variety of reasons for it. Part of it's technology, part of it is equity, lack of support at home for some kids, not having it all come back the next day. It's also trying to justify what they're sending home, the quality and quantity and the value of what the work is, if it's helping prepare for the next day or practice more.
So the equity is recognition of what we call equity is recognition of unfavorable home conditions for some of the student body.
Yeah.
So in order to not put undue stress on those from
Those that have support and those who
underserved
don't.
households, so to speak.
It's more the trauma-informed side of things and just trying to be cognizant of the fact that, and trying to find a balance of personal time, school time, work-life balance, just like the adults are working on, but it's figuring out what is important and what they need and trying to maximize what they do in school during school day. But we can ask the admin next.
So we'll get follow-up from
Yep.
his guy. Thank you.
Sure thing.
Are there any other board member comments? Seeing none, I'll move on to the chairman's report. I would like to start by welcoming everyone back. I hope you've had a nice summer. And to welcome our new board members, we have Andrew Baker from Greenwood, Beth Weisberger from Bethel, and Levi Brown from Bethel. Thank you for your willingness to serve. You were emailed the board member info sheet. We do have some on that cart there. If you have not completed that yet, please complete the form and note your subcommittee selections in the order of your interest. You can turn those into either Mark or myself. Once we've received all your info sheets, we'll assign board members to the subcommittees. Board members that are interested in serving on the policy, please recognize, or the policy committee I should say, that the policy committee is volunteer. So if you're on the policy committee, you'll most likely be on 2 of those subcommittees. We'll do our best to honor everyone's first choice, and we'll provide a list of the subcommittees and their members at the September meeting, and the committees will begin meeting shortly thereafter. The subcommittee meetings are not set in stone. However, the meetings have been scheduled as follows. Finance and negotiations typically meet Tuesdays at 5:30. Facilities and personnel on Mondays at 5:15 before our regular board meetings. The education committee meets on Thursdays at 3, and policy is Monday mornings at 10, and it typically will meet once a month. The schedule may or may not influence your subcommittee choices. I'd like to remind all the board members that you can attend any of the subcommittee meetings. You cannot vote at those meetings if you're not a member of that committee, and the subcommittees are open to the public as well. At our next meeting, we'll also be electing board chair, vice chair, and vice chair pro tem. And lastly, and I won't say too much because I know Mark planned on touching on it too, but I want to encourage everyone that's able to attend the MSNA Fall Conference. It's hosted at the Augusta Civic Center. It'll be on October 24th and 25th. The conference offers a wide variety of workshops. It's an excellent resource and a great opportunity to connect and network with other board members and administrators throughout the state. That concludes my chairman's report. I will turn it over to Mark for the superintendent's report. Oh, no, skipping step, sorry. Committee meetings. The next SAD44 board meeting will be Monday, September 23rd at 6:30 p.m. here in the Telstar Library. Education committee will meet Thursday, September 5th at 3 p.m. in the Norway Savings Bank Conference Room. Finance and negotiations committee will meet Tuesday, September 10th at 5:30, and that's at the central office. Facilities and personnel will meet Monday, September 23rd at 5:15 in room 131 here at Telstar. The policy committee will meet Monday, September 9th at 10 a.m. in 131 here at Telstar. And the Region 9 Cooperative Board will meet Wednesday, September 4th at 6 p.m. at the Region 9 School of Applied Technology. We do not have any committee reports this evening because the subcommittees have not been formed yet. And now, I will turn it over to Mark for the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Hope you've had a good summer so far. It's gone by very fast. We've had actually summer weather to enjoy, which is kind of nice for a change compared to last year. Lots of hirings over the summer to share with you. First, our Schedule B appointments, since tonight's the first night of high school preseason. Middle school, we have assistant field hockey coach Maya Taylor. Telstar High School, assistant boys soccer coach Scott Underhill. Assistant football coach Will Doyle. And FBLA advisor Morgan Richmond. Middle school sports will start the second night of school on that first Thursday. That first week, the high school starts tonight and going forward. We had a couple other ed tech hirings over the summer for special ed. Mackenzie Connor at Telstar Middle School, Alyssa Howe at Woodstock, Jessica Hunsaker at Telstar Middle School, and Cynthia Kropp at Crescent Park. We have a combination ed tech 2 and van driver, Theron Kropp. We're working with some students, and we did hire a new maintenance worker, Kenneth Marshall, to work with Casey, and his first day was today. We have a new van driver, specifically van driver for Lumford, Miranda Perry, and Woodstock School Student Council Advisor Andrea Howe. We had 3 resignations over the summer. Melissa Berkhold is our K-5 music teacher. Thomas Coolidge, our special ed central office administrative assistant. And Ariana Mancuso, who was hired as a middle school ed tech 3 in special ed. The other pieces tonight, there's some agenda items for teaching positions that we were able to fill and other administrative positions over the summer. As Aaron mentioned, the MSMA conference in October at the Augusta Civic Center. You can go to one day or both days. And as it gets closer, if anyone is interested in actually going and staying over, Mrs. Gunderson will help set up rooming accommodations for you. The MSBA's, the Maine School Boards Association Delegate Assembly. That's a virtual meeting coming up in September, on September 19th at 6 o'clock. It's a Zoom meeting, and then there's a delegate assembly meeting on Saturday, October 19th. That is a regional school board meeting of all different school board chairs and school board members in our area. Each zone is 7 different sections. That is open to anyone who would like to go and represent the board. We do need to have board representation at those meetings. So it's something to consider. If you're interested, if anyone's interested, just email Aaron or I, and we can get you the information when the link comes out. Last year, Destiny did it.
And I don't mind doing it again this year.
It was
The technology
informational.
isn't easy, but I did still keep it on my phone.
They make it a little clunky to get in, but once you're in, it's not bad. Per school board policy, BDA, for the organizational meeting, letters of intent for school board chair had to be in by August 1st. I did receive one letter, so you do have one candidate. Aaron is willing to do the job again next year, so you'll be voting on that at the next meeting, along with the other positions supporting that. Start of the school year, it's upon us. Staff starts on Monday, students start on Wednesday next week, and we're in really good shape as far as positions go. Right now, the only things we have left open, we have our athletic trainer for this facility. This is the second year that that's open, it's still waiting. We have the elementary music position that is still open, and we have some custodial positions. Other than that, we've been able to fill all of our positions over the summertime, which is a really nice feeling, especially looking around at districts all around us, and they have double digits, some of them 24 positions still open, a week from school opening. And so we feel very fortunate in that regard. It did help selfishly that our budget passed the first time through, so thank you all for that support. We are not dealing like the other towns around us with second and third votes waiting to try and pass their budget. Trying to freeze their budget before school even opens because they're worried about shortfalls, so we don't take that lightly, and we do appreciate the support. There have been a lot of projects going on around the district, some planned and some unplanned. We had some moldy carpet issues for the second summer in a row, so we had to do some replacing of carpet, and we've not continued to put the carpet back. So we're now going with tile and linoleum in these rooms and not dealing with the carpet anymore. We had to replace 3 carpets at Woodstock, and they are 3 that we had issues with last summer, so for the second summer in a row, we're just not going to deal with it anymore. Those have been replaced, and they look amazing. The carpet in the cafeteria in Woodstock is in the process of being removed, and will not be going back down as carpet. And the carpet in the Crescent Park cafeteria has been removed and is no longer going to be carpet, that is tile as well. Some big changes, as well as replacement of the carpet, now tile in the Crescent Park teacher's room, where the 3-year-old classroom moved out of. Lots of cleaning projects. The custodial staff this summer was, to say the least, a skeleton crew in all buildings, and they did an amazing job to be able to get things done and in place and cleaned up. Another big project going in this building, I don't know if you saw last week, but Clean Cut Painting has donated the painting of the gym, and it will be done tomorrow here, so it's the first time in 20 years the gym's been painted, interior, and it looks like our hallways. It brightens it up completely, and it's a big refresh. We've had some outdoor projects, if you've had a chance, during the week. The pavilion and courtyard here are coming together slowly but surely. Furniture's in place, planting is going on, but we will have our outdoor classroom space in the pavilion with furniture, and many zones outside for the kids and staff to enjoy during the school day, which is a big project undertaking. We've had some great volunteers that come in this summer to help and put a lot of hours and sweat equity into that, and so hopefully kids and staff are able to enjoy it, and it'll be up to them to work to maintain it. And our goal is, hopefully as the year goes on, each year the senior class might think about donating a piece to add to the courtyard and try to keep the tradition going alive and just having it become something of their own. But there have been lots of cleaning projects. We had some shuffling in the district with staff moving from building to buildings, so there's a lot of moving around. We had some volunteers come in this summer to help Casey with our maintenance outside, with the mowing and weed whacking, to try and help her to keep up with things. We had our custodian at Woodstock helping do mowing and weed whacking down there. Mr. Gary White came in when he wasn't driving the bus and helped with weed whack. He came in and helped the pavilion, just helping to fill in the gaps to help bridge the summer. And it was a growing season, so there's a lot of mowing and weed whacking to be done. So we appreciate all those efforts and staying on top of things. Other than that, staffing-wise, we're in really good shape. Mr. Parker is here this evening to talk about our emergency evacuation plans and emergency management plans that, as a board, you need to approve each year, and Aaron will sign so that they are a living document. And Scott, if you wouldn't mind just taking a few minutes just to address and talk about those for everybody.
Well, all the plans have been updated and turned into the district for Mark's approval. The training that we typically do prior to school starting is scheduled. I'll meet with all the teachers and staff next Tuesday, I think, which is nice because it's all going to be done here, and it's going to rotate them all through, which is good for me. The lockdown drills have been scheduled for the 19th and 20th of September. I've coordinated with the new chief deputy down at Oxford. Seems very motivated to help schools out, which is a little different than the previous ones. They were not interested, but they had other things to do. And I think the only other thing I would mention is we're doing reunification again this year, like we have done in every previous year. This year will be done up at Sunday River. They're all hands on deck. I'll be doing a training with them prior to the 17th of October. And they're very motivated every year that we go up there to support us, so that's good. As far as incidents across the United States, New England, and all the states around New England are doing very well. Other parts of the country, there's plenty of incidents occurring in schools and injuries occurring. So I'd like to think that, you know, what's happening in New England is at the school level, teacher level, administration level, they're doing the right things because we're not having them in our area, that's for sure. They're mitigating ahead of time, so that's all good.
Thank you, Scott. There were no major changes to our plans this year from last year. We have a good system, and these will be, if anyone's curious and like to see them, they can be on file in the office, at the central office. And there'll be a copy in each building office as well, if anyone's curious to see what's in there. The only other thing, thank you for those who have returned your interest sheets and information sheets so far. If you haven't had a chance, if you can get those in by next week, it would be appreciated. And then the only other piece of business in the superintendent's report is our Region 9 board representation. Last year, David Jones filled that slot. He is willing to do it again this year if there are any board members, but I would like to see if there's any interest amongst the board to have board representation to go to the Region 9 meetings. They are the first Wednesday of each month at 6 o'clock. And it's just to join with Mr. Stan Howe, who's also not Stan. Norm Plan, thank you. My apologies. Close. With Norm Plan, they both serve on the board over there. We have 2 representations from our district to go over and sit on the board at Region 9. So if you don't decide right now, but if there's any interest, I would ask that you would please email me. David is willing to go to the first meeting, which is in 2 weeks, until we figure out who wants to represent the board going forward. But that's just an option there, and it's an additional meeting. And they meet at the Region 9 school, like I said, the first Wednesday of each month at 6 o'clock. Other than that, that concludes my superintendent's report for this evening.
We do not have any old business to tend to this evening. Are there any suggested adjustments to the agenda? On to number 3. To see what action the board wishes to take regarding approval of the superintendent's selection of the following teachers to a first probationary contract for the 2024-2025 school year. We have Taylor Bellevue, grade 3 at CPS, Tanya Edgerly, special ed at CPS, Jody Gray, school nurse, Joe Lovejoy, grade 3 at CPS, and Mark Smith, phys ed and health at Telstar Middle School.
So moved.
Thank you, David. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Stephanie. Discussion. And feel free to take the time to go through the packets and such. Scott?
The school nurse hire, is this the new position that was put in the budget?
Yes.
No, I got no question.
So,
They all certified?
they are, actually, yes.
Is there a certification, when you're a school nurse, is there a special is there a special DOE certification for school nurse, or is it like an RN?
There is if you're going to be the district nurse like Rosemary is, but we hired an RN position, so, but this person also came from the Oak Hill SAD44 region, and she was the middle school nurse there previously. So she has school nurse experience, but she has over 28 years of nursing experience that she's bringing with her.
Yeah, that's fine, I'm
Yeah.
sure, I didn't know
So-
there was some special
There
thing.
does not have to be unless they're the district nurse.
Just the medical,
Yes.
just the medical.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As you go through the package, you might notice, very different from years past, is that almost all of our new hires are experienced teachers. We have one, Taylor Bella, who is a new teacher, and Tanya Edgerly is moving up from an ed tech role to a teaching position. Everyone else in here comes with experience, which is unique for us, and it's exciting for the staff and the individual teams, and to bring to the schools their experience factor and different perspective of where they're coming from. And we were able to, like I said, fill these positions early on in the summer, so they've had time to be in the classrooms, they've been set up, they've met the staff, and they're very excited, which is always a good sign. So we feel very fortunate for that. And that's all the process of it, so.
We have somewhat rough on here, since we were struggling beforehand with drinking water, so now we have a surplus.
Well, I know that in situations where Taylor Belleville was working at Crescent Park in different capacities substituting last year, Tanya Edgerly was already working at Crescent Park as an ed tech and moved up to a teaching role. She finished her degree work. Jody Gray, it was a shorter commute. It was in Harrison instead of driving to Sabatis. This was a better call for her. Joe Lovejoy, again, was on the PTA and substituted at Crescent Park, was in almost daily, pretty much essentially on staff. Mark Smith, again, lives in the area closer, was commuting over an hour away, and now have a half an hour commute as a position. So a lot of it was just they were regional, where they did not have to find housing, which is always, the last years has been a big piece of the hang-up, is that they want the job, but it's hard to find housing they can move into. Work. So these guys did not have to deal with that situation, which makes it easier.
I know that one of them had answered yes on the convicted of the crime, I assume they've all run the
Yes.
run.
Yes. And they're clear. We appreciate their honesty.
And Mark Smith, it says declaration expired September of this year.
And he has submitted all his paperwork and the DOE, and we have additional right now, waiting for full to be in. We were told that it should be within the first week of school, if not before school starts.
Criminal conviction, that gets considered by the DOE, whether or not it's suitable for, the individual suitable for
Correct.
being a kid.
It's part of the background
But
check.
once that's reviewed, is there any local judgment on that, or just, I would hope not, actually.
No, we trust that process, and if they are vetted and cleared by them, then we follow that lead.
Any other questions or discussions at all? And these packets will need to be returned, but you can hang on to them until the next agenda, and if you'd like, if they're pertinent. Seeing no further discussion, all of those in favor of approving the superintendent's selection of the list of individuals for a first probationary contract for 24-25 school year? Yes, thank you. Number 4, to see what action the board wishes to take regarding approval of the superintendent's selection of Michelle Danielson as assistant principal for Crescent Park School for FY25 and FY26.
Motion approved. Second that.
Who's the second, Desmond? Thank you. Discussion. Scott?
Who's on the hiring committee?
Read that. Mrs. Arsenal, principal, Jenny Smith, the school counselor, Mackenzie Richard, and Megan Fitzmaurice, both teachers.
individual already in the system? Is the individual already
Yes.
employed here?
Yes.
Is there a certification that goes with that job?
There
Like
is
something above the
assistant
teacher
principal
thing? Yeah.
certification, yes, with a master's, and she has that.
Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, all of those in favor of approving superintendent's selection of Michelle Davidson as assistant principal for CPS for FY25 and FY26? Thank you, it's unanimous. Number 5, to see what action the board wishes to take regarding approval of the appointment of John Elliott Jr. as the district's affirmative action officer for 24-25 with a stipend of $1,500.
So moved.
Thank you, David. I'll second that. Thank you, Justin. Discussion. Scott?
I thought I asked this last year, I'm not sure what the answer was, if there was an answer. The designation affirmative action officer, is that based on a specific statute or local policy? What is the basis of for calling somebody the affirmative action officer? And then I'm going to have more questions after that.
Each district is supposed to have a designated person.
According to who? According to what authority?
I don't have the statute in front of me, but I can get it for you.
I would like that. Yeah, I thought we probed this last year with that. But yeah, I'd like to see what the basis of it is. Where would the school district employ affirmative action principles? You see what I'm saying? You know, affirmative action is a lot of things intended to right the wrongs of past structural racisms. Well, I guess that's my understanding. So where would SAD44 be employing
So this
affirmative
position
action
is-
principles?
It's
Or it's supposed to be
affirmative
employed?
action / Title IX officer. It's a combination, and that's the way it's set up in each district. And it's to have somebody to help with any kind of labor issues, any kind of civil rights violation, and to do the legwork and the investigations, to then make the appropriate recommendations going forward as to how to resolve those disputes.
Would it be more accurate to call it Title IX officer or some, I guess that's I'm just a little bit
Okay.
trying to understand where affirmative action actually plays in. I understand Title IX compliance, and if there's a legal theory that we ought to have something called affirmative action officer, I guess I'd like to see that
Okay.
legal theory or statute, something more than just calling it the AO.
Isn't that illegal, isn't that a federal,
Well, these are questions, right. What is the basis? What is the statutory basis for it? Or is it local policy that we've decided, and then my question would be, what is the guidance for someone in holding that position? And then other questions, who has standing to bring a complaint? Is there some violation of Title IX? Is that a parent? Could that be a parent?
Parent, a coach, it could be a teacher, it could be a student.
A lawyer for a student?
Mhm.
And so Mr. Elliott's job is the first intake on what the facts may be around the,
To pull all the information into the investigation, to meet with all the parties, to put everything together. There's trainings involved to go through that, to be in that role. There's a Drummond and Woodson training, and there's also an MSSA training that can be had each time. So that's not just, there's specific things to follow and protocols and guidelines. There's a manual that comes with it.
it's all come back to me. So Mr. Elliott, obviously he's been doing it for several years. Do you have a feel for how many cases he actually hears, or is there incidents that get looked into, or?
Well, I can defer to John.
Well,
himself.
I can answer a little bit. You don't want to group it all together because so many come before you have to determine what has to go to what level. I mean, it's a level game, so somebody makes a complaint, everything has to be investigated, and then a determination needs to be made of where it goes next. What did it violate? Was it under Title IX? Was it sexual harassment? Is it a bullying case? You got to make the determination. There's a lot of different what it can be termed. And then from there, sometimes they can get, depending on what it is, can be solved informally, depending on the parties and what's going on. Sometimes it has to go through a formal process, so it's case by case. I think this last year we had 2 that made it all the way through formal bullying and stuff, cases harassment.
Is bullying Title IX?
No, but that's also under the affirmative action officer responsibilities to look into.
And we're gonna get that in writing, what the responsibilities are. They are what they are. I mean, that's what, I'm curious about it. I mean, I don't follow it close, but it had to do with college admissions, but the Supreme Court basically validated the practice of affirmative actions. I'm trying to understand where that would be, where it would be played in this, in SAD44, and here we are in Western Maine, so.
It also applies affirmative action when disputes of employees occur. I'm the mediator, so if there was an incident between, say, a teacher and an administrator or something, they would come before me and we'd determine the case and then determine what goes to Mark and superintendent.
Under that scenario, wouldn't that default to the labor agreement? I guess I'm trying to grasp where we're getting the official basis for this. If it's Title IX, that's the answer. Title IX, then we're going to hear from John Woodson, I guess, on why they think it's a good idea we have something called affirmative action officer.
Yeah, it's a state law too. We'll pull it all up.
I'd like to see the law. That's
Excellent.
the question.
I can bring everything you want, do a presentation if you'd like.
Just asking for the, I'll start with statute, thank you.
Okay, all right, I'll get that for you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all of those in favor of approval of the appointment of John Elliott Jr. as the district's affirmative action officer for 24-25? Yes, thank you. Number 6, to see what action the board wishes to take regarding approving the superintendent to update district accounts to all financial institutions. Do I have a motion?
Second.
David? Discussion.
What does that mean?
So, as we've gone through now, coming into the second year of my term, there are certain accounts with different investments and CDs that the school has that have come up, and so that in the past, they had Dr. Murphy's name on them, and are in the process of transitioning them as we have to review them and to reallocate them. So this is just a formality, and I do, if we agree to it, there's a form that we have to take to the bank so that Deb and I can sign the papers, and just, it's a name change.
Yep. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
See some CDs that have come all the way through. So what happens with the one of those CDs? Are they counted in the budget already when they're coming?
It's part of our, yes, it's our carryover.
It's part of the fund balance. We just take that money and it's been invested into the CDs. So we have some at Ingolstadt Bank and we have others at Oxford Federal Credit Union.
Do we get reinvested in the CDs again, or?
Yep.
Okay.
Until such time our cash flow is to get down, then we have to pull the CDs out to have it in the cash flow. But right now we don't have a cash flow issue.
We're simply sitting in a checking account.
Any other questions or discussion?
Just while we're at it, with Deb's here, how many different institutions does the district have money in?
Technically 3. We use Oxford Federal Credit Union and as some of the CDs. Androscoggin Bank is where we have our checking account where our payroll runs through. And there are 3 different CDs in different scenarios. And then we use, it's kind of strange, but we use Norway Savings Bank for cash. So like when they send cash up to the central office from like yearbook or back when we had lunch money or whatever, we take the cash downstairs, deposit it into an account, and at the end of every month, we just transfer it electronically over to Androscoggin Bank.
We also don't have a bunch of cash sitting around the office.
Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving superintendent to update district accounts to all financial institutions? Thank you, it's unanimous. We'll start passing around the form to sign. Meanwhile, can we also pass back your packets with the commissioner?
Hey, pass me. Talk later.
Yes.
On the bank form that's coming around, there aren't enough lines, so just sign down below, please, as it comes around, because they want everyone's signature on it, but they didn't give us enough lines for 15 board members. So just sign down below, put on nice, right over each other.
Hold on, we're taking our last motion and that comes back.
You want to start over and just, anything they want?
Well, can I do it? Do I have to wait till it's
As long as nobody bolts, we need your signature on it.
All right, I'll make a motion that this meeting be adjourned.
Do I have a second? Any discussion?
But don't anybody move.
All of those in favor of adjourning?
Until you sign.
Cheryl. Sign first.